Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and the charts are setting up for some interesting developments, so I'm quite excited to get into that. We've got a few things happening pre-market, so you can see here a bunch of the Asian indexes are up. So Asia outside of Japan are generally doing quite well. This could be a good sign for the stock market performance today, and of course we're right in the timing band to expect or be looking for a swing low to form so that we can get long. The melt up crew have assembled, myself included. I know all of us kind of seem like we are delusional and mental at the moment, but we'll soon find out, right? We'll soon find out. Here we go. It has started. The China tech stocks are extending gains, and we are seeing that again in the pre-market hours relative to the US, of course. And it looks like the Nasdaq is going to open 1% plus up at open. So lower stocks with lower implied volatility equals bear trap. We'll see. Obviously, we need to close strong today in order to confirm a swing. But I think if we do that, then we can say with fairly high confidence that next week is going to be rather bullish. I'm excited to get into the charts. There's some interesting developments. I've spotted a few things and I want to show you that. But first, take hold of my hoof and let's go through this Bitcoin stuff. This year, BlackRock has announced that Bitcoin offering to its clients. Fidelity has offered Bitcoin in retirement accounts and commission-free crypto trading. JP Morgan just used a DeFi application for the first time. Visa has a crypto debit card. Google has announced a blockchain node service. The list goes on and on and on. The banking giant Fidelity's retail Bitcoin trading offering is going to be commission-free, according to the block. So this is massive fundamental improvement for the Bitcoin network. This thing continues to get stronger every single day. If you know of anything else on the planet that continues to get stronger every day, throw it down in the comments. I would love to hear it. A new cycle has likely begun, according to Stock Money Lizards. I think we are still in search of this cycle low, but I do think at the same time we're only a couple of days away. There's a chance we're going to form the swing today, but for me, I kind of expect to see it dip down over the weekend because I don't think we've moved down low enough for me to consider it a true drop into a cycle low just yet. But we'll get to the charts a bit later on. Either way, we are very close. Bitcoin, meanwhile, is battling its average cost basis. A confirmed break above this gets the price acceleration going. Until then, it's in accumulation mode. I think we've been in accumulation for a long time. This is 4 months. 4 months of sideways. Volatility is at historic lows. We don't need to go up very much more before this starts to turn into a very bullish look indeed. This is worse than 2018. The compression down here is significantly worse. The volatility is significantly lower than it was back here. And back here, we went from 3,000-ish to 14,000-ish in just 6 months. Given the compression here, the move, whichever way it goes, and you know I'm championing a move to the upside, is going to be significantly more aggressive than this, in my opinion. The pump that comes from this consolidation will be ridiculous, and I think it will. El Salvador President Nayib Bukele has said, since adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, our tourism has increased 95%. And from El Salvador to China, China holds more Bitcoin than MicroStrategy. I was quite shocked to see this. I don't know why. I shouldn't really have been surprised, but this kind of blew me away. CryptoQuant CEO said that on Wednesday, a little known fact about the Chinese government, and they appear to hold more Bitcoin than MicroStrategy after it has seized nearly 200,000 Bitcoin from the Plus token scam in 2019 to the National Treasury. This is interesting and exciting because this is game theory playing out. So this amount of Bitcoin at the moment that the Chinese government holds is around $3.9 billion. Okay, and this is despite their anti-Bitcoin policies. It's not just the Chinese government that holds a massive amount of Bitcoin, because the US government also holds a massive stash of Bitcoins. Okay, they've got at least $1 billion worth of Bitcoins that they've taken from criminals. So just like how if you're a drug dealer, say, and your house gets raided, they can take cash and drugs and cars and anything that you'll likely have bought with drug money. They can seize that. If you happen to have a bunch of Bitcoin that is made in an illegal fashion, then they can seize that Bitcoin. Usually with the cars and stuff that they seize, they'll sell them at auction. However, when it comes to Bitcoin, they just hand it straight over to the US Treasury, and the US government holds the Bitcoin for the long term. So we're seeing definitely the US and Chinese government holding on to large amounts of Bitcoin. Game theory is playing out. If they don't hold on to Bitcoin and Bitcoin does really well, then they get to miss out on that whilst these other nation states profit from it massively. So as more and more governments start to stash Bitcoin, more and more other governments are going to start to want to get involved as well. Coinbase revenue from retail traders is down 85% in Q3 2022 versus Q4 of last year. Weak hands have left the building. There's no retail buying dog coins and meme coins. There's no retail full stop. Okay, all the weak hands, all the people that got into this thing because of the hype, because they wanted to make quick, easy money, they've all gone. And this is reflected in Coinbase's exchange fees. They don't have any exchange fees at the moment. Okay, they're not relative to when you got all the retail in there buying all these silly things. Revenue is down massively, and this tells us that we are in a market with serious people that understand this asset only now. And of course, that is synonymous with forming bottoms. You know it as well as I do. We're about to come out of this base, and we're about to come out of this base swinging. Binance is considering buying a bank, according to the Binance CEO. So is this going to be like a crypto custody bank? I would think so. That seems to be a natural progression. If you're in this space as early as this, though, if you have access to this kind of information and knowledge, please make sure you custody your own crypto, not your keys, not your coins. That's all I'm going to say on that. You've heard of the at symbol? Well, now there's the sat symbol. Check this out. It's a backwards at symbol with an S in the center instead of an A. Why do we need this? Well, because we have pence to the pound, right? We have cents to the dollar, and now we have sats to the Bitcoin. So when people start pricing their coffees and things, they'll likely be using this sat symbol. I love to see it. Let's keep going. Inflation in Turkey is at 85%, a new 24-year high. I can't even fathom what 85% must feel like. We're also seeing the mainstream media start to push things like this. Hedge fund giant Elliott warns looming hyperinflation could lead to a global societal collapse. So is hyperinflation coming? I think so. At some point, at least severe levels of inflation are coming. Whether it is weeks or months and months and months away, at some point, something is going to break. They're going to prop this thing back up with freshly printed money, massive rounds of QE. They're going to use that to destroy and inflate away the debt that they can no longer service, that is mathematically impossible to pay back. And then once everyone's been impoverished, apart from, of course, the asset holders from this hyperinflation, they will use that as an excuse to fix the system with their CBDCs. Of course, there's no other way to get people to accept them. You already know. Let's keep going. Look for the Fed in the coming months to suggest that long-standing 2% normal inflation target should be realistically set in the 3 to 4% range. Now, I put this here just because I'm still championing this idea. I still think this is going to happen. I've been calling for this for a while, but I just simply haven't made a video with this in it. So this is more of a placeholder just to say, don't forget, I still think we're going to see this soon. I still think they are going to eventually move the goalposts. The 30-year fixed has soared to a 20-year high today at 7.3%. The real estate market accounts for almost 20% of GDP. So it's strange that people are cheering on these rate hikes. It's strange that there is a large number of market participants that are bearish and want higher rate hikes, and they're scared of inflation and all of this sort of thing. People are not going to be able to pay their mortgages at this level. They're also going to lose their houses. Okay, many people are going to lose their houses. And remember, at the moment, the Fed's mandate seems to be to create more unemployment. The two of these things, unemployment and massive interest rates on their mortgages. Remember, your average Joe's overstretched on their mortgage as well. Okay, most people don't have a house within their means. They get the biggest house they could possibly get hold of, and now they're absolutely paying the price for this. So if you're one of these people that's cheering on rate hikes because you're scared of some inflation or you're bearish on the stock market, just remember that cheering on these rate hikes is also cheering on homelessness. Investors have not been this bearish on Germany since the 2008 financial crisis. I read headlines like this to you all the time. Is it time for contrarians to step up? You know I am a contrarian by nature, and I have been rather bullish of late. I will continue to do so until we take out the lows. All the while we're above the lows, then I continue to remain on the opposite side of the herd. Today is a great day to buy stocks. According to this chart here, you can see here CEO business confidence, expectations for economy 6 months ahead, all the way down here. Whenever we've been in these levels, this has coincided with major bottoms for the stock market. I doubt this time is different, to be honest with you. I'm trying to get a good read on the VIX at the moment. I have often made the majority of my money off the VIX, and weird things are happening. I'll show you. First of all, I have this on my, not on the Camel account, on my main account, on my main charting platform. I've had this fractal overlaid for a while. I think I did show it a few weeks back, a month or two ago, on one of my videos. So you may have seen that if you watch every video. I was saying that, especially down here, we were tracking this move very closely. And we've continued to track this move. We are now falling. Are we about to see some major financial crisis like we did in 2008? The VIX is certainly half telling that story. Something else, though, which contradicts this is, look, the VIX did not budge while the Nasdaq fell over 3% yesterday. This should tell you something. It tells me that quite possibly this move down is a bear trap, was a shakeout on the Fed news. Most of what was said was already priced in, was already known to the market. People got very emotionally invested, as per yesterday's video when I spoke about this a lot. I saw a lot of insults, a lot of anger, a lot of hate. None of that belongs anywhere in trading or investing. We really need to focus on the closes today because the closes will be very telling. There are some interesting developments on the charts. The dollar, as you can see, we broke out if you drew it like this, how I had it originally. However, then I changed it to use the upper wick to be as strict as possible. And you can see we're still contained within this move I have been calling for weeks. If you've been watching the channel, you'll know I said we'll get a reaction off here, waddle up here, and then we have a chance of breaking down if we're going to do so. All the while we're contained under this yellow line, this is still very much in play. The 10-year yields, again, I keep doing this. If you've been watching the channel, you'll know. Is this what's going to happen? That remains to be seen at this point. So we'll see. Interesting developments. Here we go. Starting with Zcash. Zcash catching a pump. Is the cycle low in, or have we got a weekend shakeout coming? I don't know just yet, but it's okay to be a bit late because even if we're all the way up here, right, with a wider stop, the targets are way up there. So not in any kind of rush at this moment in time. Woke up this morning, look at MATIC go. You love to see it, right? MATIC is leading. I've been saying this for the past couple of weeks. If it wants to lead, let it lead, and MATIC indeed is wanting to lead. So go on, MATIC. XRP. Is XRP going to do this? Come on, we know it. We know it's overdue. We know it's overdue. I think it's going to. That remains to be seen. Ethereum breakout retest, working on a resumption. But if I draw a line here, you can see this quite clearly. We're still under this sort of bull flag setup, so it could definitely plunge down lower, getting very close to a perfect cycle low. This for me just isn't quite enough. Okay, if you look at the prior cycle lows, you get much more of a dive down and a V back up. We just haven't had that, so that could speak to being extra bullish in the market structure, but it could also suggest that perhaps we do need to have a dive down on Monday or over the weekend. So proceeding with caution doesn't really matter, keep in mind, because as long as we're in for the bulk of the move, then we're going to make massive profit out of this anyway. Delete all this yellow stuff out of the way so you can see what's going on. So Bitcoin, again, it kind of did what I expected it to do, but I was hoping we would get a much clearer dive down. That could still come over the weekend, okay? Or this could end up being the cycle low here. I'll just measure this out for you. That would be 57 days, okay? Not out of the question that this could be the cycle low and that this is where we're going to get long from. If I don't see a plunge down over the weekend or Monday, if we don't get a dive down back down to this sort of 19k level and we start to take out the highs set back here, then that becomes my trigger for the long. We'll call this the cycle low. We'll take this break above the yellow line as confirmation, and we'll get long from here. Okay, so that's the plan. We're almost there. Hopefully we can get a dive down over the weekend. So Coinbase, look, this is acting much more like I'd expect to see. We got a dive down, looking for a swing and a reverse, and I think we can get long from wherever this forms. Okay, in fact, any sign of reversal here, and I'm going to start to scale into this position. I'm not trying to catch a falling knife, okay? I'm not going to be like, well, let's just buy here, because what's to say this isn't just going to bleed all the way down here, okay? Nothing to say this couldn't just bleed to zero, so we don't catch a falling knife. But any kind of reversal, any kind of pump to the upside, big green bullish engulfing candle, that sort of thing, then I'm going to add this position straight away. MicroStrategy, same deal, okay? Looking for a swing now, and we can buy that in my longer term account. Same is true of Riot and Marathon as well. So looking for swings, this is right into resistance, or hopefully turning resistance into new support. So again, looking for swings. Tesla, I said, bit of chop this week, and then I think we can go. That still pretty much remains. Apple has, I was not really expecting this move, but we're still in, so a bit more volatility. We'll see if this can reverse later today. Let's take a look at gold, because gold's doing something weird, okay? I'm not really a fan of what I'm seeing here. So first of all, we can see this straight away, right? We've got this sort of triple bottom in play. It's not quite a triple bottom, but more or less along there. Now, here, the cycle low I marked, I said this could be an annoying day 16 or 17 cycle low, but that is quite early, and we had one back here, which isn't, it would be very unusual because you'd expect 80% of the time these cycles to form in the right sort of space. Now I noticed if we use this as the cycle low, you get much more of a reasonable time frame. You get 26 days. This is much more likely the cycle low in my opinion, and it's behaved like a cycle low, i.e. we've come down here and then just swept that low. Gold likes to do that a lot. If I zoom back out here, you'll see this sort of just sweep the lows, forms a cycle low here, and then just sweeps it the following time, forms a cycle low, just sweeps it the following time. Here's another example, forms a low, just sweeps it, and then goes. So I wonder if that is what we're seeing here. This would be much more like a 26-day high, excuse me, a 26-day low. If that's the case, then we would expect at least a few days of rally up here before rolling over, assuming it's going to do that. But if the dollar is going to break down, like I kind of suspect it would, then you have to suspect, or at least think, that gold is going to break out of this downward sloping blue resistance line. So I'm going to continue to push this trade, because if we move up into this blue resistance line and roll over, then we should have a good 20 odd days before we're due a cycle low, which would take us to December, out this sort of range. This short is still valid until it isn't. Invalidation comes at a break of this blue trend line. We get a close a couple of days, or especially a breakout retest resumption from this blue downward sloping trend line, and it's time to flip long and target the top of this range. And I would expect, if that's going to happen, it will come off dollar weakness. So I'm going to continue to push this trade, but this triple bottom thing, this is, you know, this is inherently bullish, I would say. We've tried to break this level 3 times now and we haven't got below it. So you have to just respect the structure, have to see what happens, get rid of this so we got a much cleaner chart. But I'm keeping an eye on that. If we break down from this level, then that would be very, very bearish, of course. But right now we have a triple bottom in play, and possibly the start of a new daily cycle. So keep my eye on this. We'll see what happens. UKX, did you take the trade? I didn't. I've been sleeping on this market. I continuously miss this market. I don't know what's wrong with me, to be honest. But here you go. Breakout, retest, resuming off. So that's been way too fast moving for me. I'm going to let this trade go now. But hopefully I did flag that as an idea for you. The VIX, here we go, continues to compress, continues to fall off a cliff in the face of big moves in the stock market, like this gap down on the Nasdaq. But this could well be forming a decent swing setup, especially if we open higher and then close higher up here. Then this would be a confirmed swing low. The Dow Jones also got the potential for a swing in play. If we can open up here and go, that would be inherently bullish. And the S&P, again, right down into that circled zone, right down into the sweet spot. So if we can open higher and go, I see no reason why we can't long from wherever this market closes. Only thing I would say here is that it is Friday. I don't like to take on positions into the weekend because of weekend risks. So just be aware of that. Gaps up or down can happen on a Monday. They often do happen on a Monday. Whether I choose to break my own rules is, of course, at my own discretion. But I am certainly looking for any sort of swing. If we can get one of these here, you see how it gaps up and goes and finishes strong, then I think I'll be in and long and strong and seeing what the market can give. Risk management will be somewhere in this neighborhood here. So we've called this trade ahead of time. Now it's here staring us in the face. It only makes sense to follow through with it, right? If you found value here today, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like on the channel, subscribe if you're not already. Turn the notifications on if you want to get updates on how I enter these trades in real time. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend. All the best from me. Take care. Cheers. Bye.